since we're on the topic of people not necessarily wanting to change, I think it's a good time we bring up Star Wars.
As someone who consumes a lot of Star Wars media and has been a rabid Star Wars fan for the better part of, I want to say, like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years, dare I say? Like,
Right.
you know, I think we're at a sort of crossroads now that Disney owns it. And you know, for a while, there were 6 movies we got to talk about. And a couple of bad holiday specials and TV cartoons and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, so for a while, there was a finite amount of media. And there were plenty of books, but, like, a lot of us, not me, but a lot of people didn't read the books.
Right. And
Right.
now we
So
have 11 movies, holiday specials, multiple TV shows.
Yeah. A lot of my sort of gripe with the Star Wars fandom, as someone who, you know, was underwhelmed, I'll say, by the sequels. Like, I liked them because I'm a homer for Star Wars, and regardless of whether
Right.
I thought they were good or bad, I was going to go watch them. Right?
Right.
You know, I'll consume whatever Filoni puts out, and, you know, if they gave Kathleen Kennedy a show that she spearheaded, I'll probably watch it too. Right? You know, it doesn't matter who's at the helm. I'm going to watch it if it's Star Wars content, probably. Books,
Right.
I don't really have time for books anymore. Whatever. Movies, like, there's so much lore that got dumped in books, and it's like, there's more pages of books than I have years left in my life. Like, so
Right,
many
and now most
chapters,
of the books aren't
whatever.
canon anymore.
Yeah, and it's hard
Like,
to start
I
with
think the only thing that's canon is the High Republic series that they're putting out now.
Yeah, and, like, some of the aftermath, but like, it's hard
Yeah.
to get into the books because, like, there's so much that's old stuff that's out there, new stuff that's out there that's hard to. So we're going to talk about movies because at the end of the day, your show's about movies,
Right.
and not to get hung up on, you know, books and stuff. But the fandom is so divisive because there's so much media out there, and everybody has an opinion about, and beyond just what's your favorite color lightsaber and who's your favorite Jedi and all that stuff, and
Right.
you know, there was definitely a lot of negative sort of je ne sais quoi when it came to the sequels, because, you know, I remember there being backlash about the prequels, and, like, for years in between, after the Disney, you know, Lucasfilm merger, or acquisition rather, there was a lot of talk about, well, the prequels were bad, it can't get any worse, and then people were like, you know, I really kind of like the prequels in hindsight because it was George's vision and stuff. You know, whether you're on the prequel or sequel side of the fence, or you're a purist who likes, you know, whose favorite movie is Empire, like,
Okay,
you
fuck
know,
you.
either way,
Empire's the best one out of the 9.
either way, there was a lot of fandom cancer that came out of,
Right.
you know, just the years leading up to Force Awakens, and then, you know, we had some TV shows release, I believe, in that sort of era as well. But movies specifically, everybody had a theory about who Snoke was. Everybody. Anybody who was anybody on YouTube would release videos about how Snoke was Mace Windu, or Snoke was Jar Jar Binks, or whatever, right?
Right. Not only Snoke, they, like, whose daughter is Rey?
Exactly.
Who is she?
Which leads me to my next sort of thing. The fandom got really, like, pissed off about the fact that Rey is what's called a Mary Sue, which effectively is a character that just kind of exists,
Right.
and doesn't need to have any sort of rhyme or reason. Then again, like, that was what Star Wars was. It was like anything, any original concept is technically, you know, they didn't explain it, whatever, right? It was supposed to be explained, but lack of continuity allowed that to not get explained. And, you know, the Star Wars fandom got really, like, once Last Jedi came out, I think that's really when, and maybe you agree or disagree, I think that's really when the tip of the iceberg was for the fandom to get worse.
I'm in the minority with The Last Jedi. And and it's because I like it.
Right.
And I think I agree with you that that's where things really, you know, got to that tipping point, because everyone looked at The Last Jedi. It was like, coming off The Force Awakens, which was basically a remake of A New Hope. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is gonna be the Empire of the sequels. This is gonna be, you know, the best thing that we'll see in a while. Like, it's gonna be the best of the trilogy." In my opinion, yes. In everyone else's opinion, no.
Right.
Most people hated the movie because of what they did to Luke Skywalker. Luke's not this, you know, we can change the world guy that he was in the original movies. He's
Right.
an old haggard man who hates
he's a
life and is
curmudgeon.
right. He's seen some shit, and it
Yeah.
affected him.
Right,
And
for sure.
and no one liked that. No one liked that Luke was a potential killer or he was this down on his luck guy. Everyone wanted the Luke that we left in Episode 6, where he just saved the galaxy and
Right.
he's gonna be the greatest person alive.
Mhm.
The problem with the fandom, the Star Wars fandom in particular, they are so toxic. And they hate every little change that you could possibly make.
Mhm.
Like, I think Disney was smart when they made Force Awakens, because they're like, okay, let's just take Episode 4 and reskin it, and this is what we'll do. It's the same movie. And then it's like, okay, J.J. Abrams got to make his Star Wars movie. Let's make someone else who has, a different vision for Star Wars express their opinion, and that's how we ended up with Last Jedi. Don't get me wrong. The Last Jedi is not a perfect film. It's not. There's certain things you can get rid of. And I agree with most of it. But it's the only one that makes all of the characters feel like humans and feel real. At least in my opinion. Don't get me wrong. I understand movies are a way of escapism, and you use it to escape your real life problems.
Yeah, but even George Lucas said that it was Star Wars in his mind was a commentary on things that actually happened in our world. You know what I mean? So we seek to escape by just reskinning our problems as something else.
The reason I say that because of that movie, the Star Wars fandom is toxic. Look what happened with Episode 9 after that. They made Episode 8, it released, it made $1 billion, and everyone hated it, except me. And Disney was like, okay, hold on. We're not going to bring Trevorrow in to make Duel of Fates. We're going to bring J.J. Abrams back to make Rise of Skywalker.
I think I think there were, because of all the variables and stuff that was, and just, I think Star Wars fans as a whole were underwhelmed by the sequels. And I know a lot of people were pissed off about Last Jedi. I'll keep my opinions of it a mystery, because I have my opinions about it. I have my opinions about every Star Wars movie, good and bad. But my opinion of Last Jedi was that it was the turning point and it was the catalyst to really get the fandom going and work them up and light a fire under their ass about just getting super toxic about it, because everybody pointed to Kathleen Kennedy as the head honcho over at Lucasfilm, saying, what the F are you doing?
Right.
Why would you let Rian Johnson come in and just muck everything up and totally come up with a story that was nobody expected Snoke to die in Last Jedi. Everybody had this theory and this grandiose sort of plan, especially in the fandom, for who Snoke was, and when their Snoke theory was wrong and Snoke was just a guy who wound up being a clone of Palpatine in the end, I think a lot of people weren't happy with that. And a lot of people were also happy, or not happy, with the idea that Rey was literally a nobody. Mm-hmm. And then she became a somebody.